Welcome back. You're watching Gravitas. Centuries ago, Muslim rulers introduced Ushr in Pakistan. Farmers were asked to give away a portion of agricultural produce as charity. The Pakistan government over the years incorporated it in the constitution. But over the past 3 decades, this tax hasn't been collected, say government records. And now, Masood Azhar's terror outfit Jaish-e-Mohammad, banned in Pakistan, has begun a fundraiser for Jihad. Before we bring you that report, let's go to our guest this evening, Sushant Sareen, Senior Fellow at the Vivekananda International Foundation, and Taha Siddiqui, who's WION's Pakistan Bureau Chief. Good evening to both of you. Sushant, does it surprise you that the Jaish-e-Mohammad is not only operating but also openly doing what only the government is entitled to do?
Well, let me take a cynical view of what is happening as far as these groups are concerned. They are practically working like quasi-state groups. So in a sense, if they are extracting the tax which the state cannot, and the fact that they are able to collect a tax which the state cannot, also tells you a lot about how much power and influence they wield. But having said that, in a sense, I think they can always take the plea that since they are working in a religious cause, they are entitled to this kind of a tax. And as far as the state is concerned, it is blithely turning a blind eye to the activities of these groups. Not only are they, collecting these kind of taxes, they are also raising funds in various other ways. So no, it doesn't surprise me. And frankly, over the last couple of years, when we've seen all these groups come out of the woodwork and restart their activities after having stayed below the radar screen for a fair bit of time, this was only to be expected.
Also joining us is Marvi Sarmed, the journalist who broke this story first. Good evening, Marvi. Tell us a little more about how the Jaish-e-Mohammad is operating and extorting farmers.
Thank you very much. In many districts of Punjab, especially in South Punjab, areas of Patoki, Bahawalpur, Sadiqabad, Rahim Yar Khan, in these areas where there is a concentration of small farmers as well as the middle class farmers, they are mainly going to the middle class and small farmers. They're not touching the big landlords because of various factors, political and as well as they don't want, they want to keep working under the radar. The farmers, it's not clear how many funds they have collected this year, but after this Rabi season Rabi crops have been harvested over April and March. So this is, and cash crop in these areas is wheat mainly for the Rabi crop. So they have actually activated this campaign 3 weeks ago, and they are still going on. And I talked to Al Rahmat Trust, which is their charity organization, front face of the charity, which is already under investigation in Pakistan. It is not banned, but it is under investigation because there was a link which was caught in Seven Sharif's attack last month, 2 months ago, where Al Rahmat Trust money trail was caught between, money was traveling between Jaish-e-Mohammad and Lashkar-e-Jhangvi. So that was Counter-Terrorism Department of Karachi is basically investigating it. So it has come to the radar. So now it is a probability that it will also be banned. But the issue is that the banned groups are not actually banned in the sense that they are able to create other fronts and still have the capability of collecting funds from people because of the charity organizations. Because in these areas there's a poverty-stricken areas, government facilities, service delivery is completely comes down to naught in many areas. So these people provide health services, especially, which is major problem. Because of the quality of services they provide, people are actually they're impressed with the work, and they are beneficiaries also. Plus the banner of religion that they use, that is actually that goes to their advantage
Right.
also. Because government collects zakat and government collects Ushr as well. But because of the lack of transparency in disbursement of the zakat and Ushr funds, people do not like to give zakat and Ushr to the government, but to these charity organizations. So this is a huge undocumented economy in Pakistan, which is being used for the terror financing.
So Taha, what is the government's role? Can it not help what is happening in Pakistan, or does it not want to?
Well, it depends on who the government is. As far as the civilian government is concerned, we do see they're taking actions. For example, we saw some action against Jamaat al-Dawa recently, the house arrest of Hafiz Saeed. But how effective that is, because he did a press conference right outside his house. All the media was covering it. All the media telecasts him. Then they've morphed into another organization called the Freedom of the Kashmir Movement, which has been doing rallies in the past few weeks, few months, ever since Hafiz Saeed was put under house arrest. Same regards with Jaish-e-Mohammad's chief Masood Azhar. He has been arrested, he has been detained, but then released. So all of these people, and that's where the judiciary and the civilian setup comes into play, where but the real work of finding intelligence against them and finding whether they're involved in such activities, it's the military that controls that sort of the domain of collecting intelligence, going after these guys and finding out information about them. And as we know, the military has its own strategic reasons for not acting against these militants, which a lot of the terminology for it is the good Taliban, or in which the Afghan Taliban are involved, the Haqqani network, or the Kashmir militants, which are focused on fighting in Kashmir. So definitely there's a dual policy when it comes to these militants, which have sort of regional, they're used for regional objectives of the Pakistan security establishment.
Right. I'm going to request you all to stay with us. Let's play out for our viewers a report that basically explains this system of agricultural tax and how the Jaish-e-Mohammad is now abusing it.
It's harvest season in Pakistan's Punjab. Farmers expect a bumper crop, but they aren't celebrating. Jaish-e-Mohammad, a terrorist organization ostensibly banned in Pakistan, has launched a fundraising campaign to fuel jihad. In other words, extortion. The JEM's weekly online magazine Al-Kalam has urged farmers to contribute generously for supporting the families of martyrs, detainees of Islam and Ghazis, along with seminaries, religious centers and the needy. The Jaish calls it Ushr, agricultural tax or charity. Pakistani law provides for the state to collect such tax. In 2012, Punjab landlords refused to pay Ushr. Pakistan's government says no Ushr has been collected since 1990. The JEM's Al-Rahmat Trust confirms it is collecting this tax now. Jaish-e-Mohammad was banned by Pakistan in 2002 under US pressure. But no action has been taken against the Al-Rahmat Trust despite ample proof of their links. The US Treasury Department has said that the Al-Rahmat Trust has been involved in fundraising for the Jaish-e-Mohammad, including for militant training and indoctrination at its mosques and madrasas. The trust provides financial support and other services to the Taliban. In 2014, the Pakistani government launched a crackdown on terror financing instruments. But Jaish-e-Mohammad workers have been posting videos openly sourcing funds for jihad. That's not all. JEM chief Masood Azhar remains at large. He was taken into ISI's protective custody in 2016. Masood Azhar is the mastermind of the Pathankot airbase attack in India. Jaish-e-Mohammad was also behind the attacks in NAGROTA, GURDASPUR and AKHNOOR. The JEM is also involved in the attack on the Indian consulate in Mazar-e-Sharif. But instead of facing action, Masood Azhar's outfit is being allowed to do what the constitution empowers the Pakistani government to: collect agricultural tax to fund his war. Bureau Report, WION.
Sushant Sareen, Masood Azhar launches terror attacks on Indian civilian and military facilities. He continues to live under ISI protection, and now he's collecting money from rich farmers to fuel his war. How should India see this? Should we be worried?
You know, this is not new. This collecting of Ushr from many of these places in Punjab, which Marvi is talking about, is again not a new occurrence. I have references from 2010, 2011, when these guys were supposed to be under the radar screen. Even at that point of time, from places like Sahiwal and others, they were collecting the Ushr tax. The police would often arrest some of these activists and then would release them. Now, it is an open secret that the Al-Rahmat Trust is a front of the Jaish-e-Mohammad. But, you know, as the normal, that they put a sort of a corporate veil over their activities and set up these front organizations to hide the real activities which they are up to. That is what Al-Rahmat is to Jaish-e-Mohammad. And again, this is not a secret. Everybody knows about it. The entire world knows about it. But this fiction that Pakistan is actually cleaning up terrorism, that, you know, it's not discriminating against any of these terrorist groups, that's continuing to be peddled. And the fact of the matter is that there is not a single thing which has been done against any of these groups by the Pakistani deep state. They continue to flourish, they continue to thrive. So in a sense, you know, it's easy for the Pakistani state to allow these fellows to extort money and collect resources on their own, because if they were to collect resources from you know, more transparent sources, already we know that you have the finance minister of Pakistan desperately trying to, you know, plead Pakistan's case that they are actually cracking down on terror financing, on money laundering. Even as we speak, he was in Washington DC talking about all this. But because there's this sword hanging over the Pakistani head that if they are going to be sanctioned, it's a bit of a long shot right now, but if sanctions are going to be imposed on them for not stopping terror finance, then it, you know, creates a lot of trouble for the Pakistan economy. So clearly, you know, they are playing this double game, and this is what we are seeing as of now.
Marvi, are there any moves afoot on the state government or the central government's part in Pakistan to ensure that this stops?
I think right now, if I look at the landscape of Pakistan security forces fighting with the terrorists, I think their hands are full with Jamaat-ul-Ahrar, Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, and Lashkar-e-Jhangvi. As far as Jaish-e-Mohammad is concerned, as you know, a faction of Jaish-e-Mohammad was involved in not only Daniel Pearl assassination, but also assassination attempts on Pervez Musharraf, and a couple of other incidents of terrorism in Pakistan. So there is this split in Jaish-e-Mohammad might make Pakistani security establishment to you know, to have a crackdown on Jaish-e-Mohammad, but that's clearly not the priority right now, because the priority are those groups excuse me, who are attacking continuously on Pakistani soil and attacking civilians. There has been a series of attacks since the year started in January. From January to March, in 3 months there were 20 attacks in Pakistan at different places. So I think the security forces, and now as you see, the western border of Pakistan is also quite heated up, and the borders were closed at many points. They are opening up now, but still the forces are busy at the Western Front. They are busy in Raddul Fasad, Operation Raddul Fasad, which is intelligence-based operation mainly, and Operation Zarb-e-Azab in both Waziristans. Plus there is an operation going on in Tera Valley and Shawal and Khyber Agency. Para Chanar has been under attack for quite a few months. now. So I think the concentration of Pakistani security forces is right now against the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan and Jamaatul Ahrar. After that, I think, as they say, you know, I've spoken to very senior officials in the security establishment in past 2-3 days, and the impression that I get is that the second phase, which might start after Radul Fasad, would be a crackdown on these groups who are operating from the soil of Pakistan and attacking other nations.
Taha, very quickly, what about the locals? What about the farmers? What kind of support do these campaigns have locally, and do these people really have a choice? Because a lot of times the government or the propaganda that comes out of Pakistan is that these are humanitarian organizations. They're basically just helping the poor.
Definitely. I mean, if you see, I've traveled in South Punjab with Falai Insaniyat Foundation, which is the Jamaat-ud-Dawa's charity wing, and they basically give out charity, and they sort of provide the services which the state is failing in these poor regions. And in return, what they do is, for example, they would ask one of the children of the family to be sort of dedicated to their work, and that child would be taken back to the camps for training. And I met some children like that who spoke to me about being trained, and this was in South Punjab. Other than that, I mean, there were quite vulnerable areas these organizations usually operate. I remember after the North Waziristan operation in 2014 in the tribal belt, Jaish-e-Mohammad opened up a relief camp right outside where the refugees were exiting from, and in a way, again, to sort of find sympathizers within them, to sort of show a softer image in Pakistan. So that's what, and then the media does the same. We see usually the mainstream Urdu media, the news broadcast media, they basically try to show a soft image of these people. So in that sense, the locals kind of think that these people are the saviors or an alternate to the state, because the state is failing in providing a lot of those facilities that these organizations offer.
Right. Taha Siddiqui, Sushant Sareen, Marvi Sarmad, appreciate all of you joining us here. Thanks very much for shedding light on what is happening in Punjab, in Pakistan, what the Jaish-e-Mohammad is now up to. We're taking a break with that. Still ahead, Trump's 100 days in office, the good, the bad and the ugly, coming up. Stay tuned.